Hello! Today we are going to use all of these lovely ingredients to make our 2 iguanas their food. We put food in the morning and let them eat all day, and we'll top it off at night just in case they get hungry. Although iguanas during the day, they need to soak in their UVB light so that way it can help their body absorb the nutrients that they need and digest their food properly. So we tend to let them just eat whatever they want throughout the whole day. And you're going to watch me make their food, and I'll talk a little bit about what I've learned as far as what to feed them and what's good and what's not good. Alright, so most of their diet should consist of about 80% dark leafy greens that are calcium-rich vegetables. This is kale. Kale is one of those that should be given kind of rare, just like an every now and then. Our iguanas actually like them, so I'm just going to be doing the tops of all 3 of these, dicing it up to put into their salad. So here's what I'm left with, and as you'll see, it's just kind of little bite-sized pieces, and that's going to go in the base of the bowl. Next, I have some collard greens. They actually, our big one, he loves to just eat them whole, but we're going to dice a couple up and then break some in half for his tank. So collard greens are calcium rich. They're good for them to have every day. It's like a staple food that you would like for them to have. So what I do, you want the stem and all. I dice it up like this, and then I just go through and I cut downwards again to make it bite-sized pieces for our smaller lizard. So again, once it's just kind of bite-sized pieces, we're going to pick it up, throw it into the bowl. We also are going to go over some of the foods that you should not be giving them. I looked over 3 different websites to kind of compile my list. There's a lot that say you should and some that say you shouldn't, like bok choy. Some say to give it to them, but it's actually a geogentric, so that is not an everyday one. Same as a sweet potato. You can give it, but it should not be every day. So this whole potato, they're not going to get. I'm actually going to eat most of it. And we're going to go ahead and cut this one as well. So just like bananas, sweet potatoes are high in phosphorus, but they're also oxalic foods, which is, they bind the calcium in the body, and they should be restricted in the diet because, you know, iguanas need a lot of calcium, and if this is a calcium binder, we don't want that, but it is a nice little treat for them. So I'm cutting this up in little bite-sized pieces. And then, like I said, the rest of this I'm going to cut into little cubes, and I am going to air fry them and snack on because I think they're delicious. Just bite-sized. You, depending on the size of your lizard, depends on the size of your bites. You want it to be something that they're not going to get choked on. So it was goitrogenic, that word that I could not pronounce, and they are foods that need to be limited as well because goitrogens bind to the iodine, which will inhibit iodine absorption in the body, and that's also essential for their thyroid function because that helps regulate your vital organs. So we will not be giving them, if anything that has it, it's going to be very limited. It's not bad for them in very small doses because you don't want them to have too much of anything. So apples, they can have 10% fruits to their total diet. So the apple, they can have, you want it to be about 10% of your total bowl. So we're just going to dice this one up nice and bite-sized pieces. And throw it in. So I also have some microgreens, pea shoots, and what I do, just get a little bit, I'm going to crumble it up, and I'm going to pinch it and throw it in. So going with the very rare spinach, beetroot, bok choy, broccoli, cauliflower, you can give them a little bit of carrots, but carrots tend to be high in oxalates, which again, oxalates, they kind of absorb the calcium, so we don't want to do too many of them. You can do A small cucumber would be very rare. It's mostly just water, just like a watermelon would be a rare thing to give them because it has no nutrients, it's just water. Green cabbage, kidney beans, lima beans, okra, radishes, turnips, wheatgrass. Those are all either oxalates or geogentric. So if you're going to give them very, very rare, just a very little bit, less than 5% I would say, of whatever you're going to put into this bowl. So if you had to put piles, you'd have a huge pile of your green and leafy. You'd have a smaller pile of your fruit because you want that to be a small portion. Now they can have, we have edible flowers. These are nestheniums. They're edible flowers. You can eat them as well. I just throw those in there. It's a nice little treat. These are marigolds picked fresh from my garden. They do enjoy all kinds of fruits and flowers. So along with the other flowers that they have, one is going to get one and my other lizard will get the other one. But they can have chrysanthemum petals, dandelions, hibiscus, hollyhock, lavender, and I actually have a sprig from my lavender plant outside. Rose petals, and chamomile flowers. I just put one in each and let them go to town on it. Some staple fruits are apples, cantaloupe, mango, papaya. They can do blackberries, blueberries, cherries, cranberries, guava, pear, peaches, plums, raspberries, strawberries. Just kind of every now and then. They are just more occasional. This is a green bean. I'm going to cut it up. This is one of those items that you can give them in a rarity. You don't want to give it to them all the time. So I'm going to use one, and it's going to be about half of this one. I'm taking the beans out because those are going to get chopped up as well. So some other calcium-rich ones that would be good to give them every day would be dandelion greens. So I just went outside, and these are the leaves from dandelions. These are small enough. I kind of like to leave them whole, and I just throw a couple of them in there. If you give them hibiscus, you can give them the flowers. They can have snap peas, mustard greens, prickly pear cactus, the pads and the fruit's good. General squash, yellow squash. I have some in the garden. They're not getting any of that today. They can have a little bit of thyme, some turnip greens. Collard greens are what we use. It's huge. I mean, you get a lot out of this. And you see we've got some that are going bad because we haven't used enough of it. So this is some peppermint. It's rare that you give them to them, but they like it. So I'm just going to give them a couple pinches. This is out from the garden. You can still see the dirt on it. Just give them a little bit of it. And give that a mix. So we also bought them this iguana bites. Just soft, moist food. It helps stimulate their appetite because in case they get stressed, these are new iguanas to us. Just gonna do a little sprinkle in there. So they have been a little stressed since we've got them. They're doing better. They're getting more comfortable with us. Our one upstairs is a little more aggressive, but you know, on top of all of this, your iguana, they do not need any form of meat. No insects, no egg, no cheese, no dog food, no cat food, none of that. Because if you give them any of that, especially at a young age, it can cause kidney failure because they only need plant protein. They do not need any other form of protein. They get it all from in here. So this is calcium because you want them to have calcium rich. Since ours are babies, we got it with vitamin D3. I'm just going to do a little pinch, sprinkle it in there, and use my hand to mix it. When they're littler, they do get a lot of the vitamin D from the UVB light, but you still want to add some in there, because if you have a mesh cage, that mesh can interfere with the light absorption. So with vitamin D3 until they're adults, to kind of help make sure that their bones are growing nice and strong. So in addition to, you know, all of the leafy greens, it should be small amounts. You don't want to give them too much. And their water, fresh water every day. You want to make sure you're changing out that water. So iguanas don't necessarily drink from the water. They will kind of, but mostly they absorb it through their skin. So you want a bowl that's hefty that they're going to bathe in. If they're little and they're not finding that bowl, you just want to put them in it. Set them in that bowl. Make sure that they know that that is their bowl that they can eat from. They, you know, you can put some flowers in it. They'll just be swimming, enjoying their flowers. And you know, they say that the amount of supplements required by iguanas is controversial. It depends on their age. So like I said, we have younger ones. So we got the one with D3, just to kind of help their bones. But you want to sprinkle it on their food, not every day. You don't want to do it every day. You know, I'd say about 2 to 3 times a week for younger ones, and as they get older, you know, go down. You don't need as much. Well, I think that's it. Thanks for coming on this lovely food making journey with us. I'm gonna go put these in the cage with Carnage and Courage, and I hope y'all have a great day.